What's up, fight fans? MMA Locker Room here with Pick Dawgz, and I'm going to be going over this week's UFC Fight Night card headlined by Namajunas taking on Amanda Ribas. We got 13 fights to talk about and to predict, so let's go ahead and get it started, man. But before we do that, let's take a little recap down memory lane. How did you guys do last week, man? The main event, Marcin Tybura versus Tad Tuivasa, was able to get that one right for the folks out there. One of the biggest underdogs won on the card. We had a minus 700 favorite who lost. Yeah, he lost against a old fighter who looked like he was on his way out and everybody thought he retired. Why? Because this is the fight game, folks. Anything can happen any week. That's why it's so important to make sure you guys are getting good bets and good reads in. All because you see a big favorite doesn't mean that he's always going to win. This is not sports. These people are getting punched in their head and choked out. All right? Now, look, let's go ahead and get it started, man. UFC Fight Night bet with me is kicking off, and let's go over the first fight of the night. All right, we got some big boys to talk about. Heavyweight stepping in the ring. Muhammad Usman, 11 wins and 2 losses, taking on Mick Parson, 8-0, undefeated fighter. The opening odds have Mick Parson as a minus 140 favorite, okay? Coming off of a win in his last time out, that's why he's the warranted favorite on this one. But Muhammad Usman, he was able to get a win in his last fight out too. The thing is this, both these fighters usually don't throw a lot of volume in here. The over is at a minus 190 at over 2.5. Usually with heavyweights, they don't go the distance. So for them to give us a nice price tag to go over, makes me think it might go under. But hey, man, we ain't here for that, man. When it comes down to it, Muhammad Usman might be able to mix in the takedowns and get Mick Parson down to the ground. Both these fighters are low volume, so it's kind of like you got to pick your poison in this one. I think Muhammad Usman could surprise in this underdog spot in here, man. I already know that he can mix in the takedowns all throughout his fights. Within his first couple of fights in the UFC, he has 16 takedown attempts. I think he landed about 3 of those or 4. But, this is the thing, man. If it stays on the feet, it could go either way for any of these fighters. But I think Muhammad Usman's going to do enough, clinching him up against the cage and make this like a closer fight than what it is. And, pull it out in the later rounds, man. I like Muhammad Usman to get it done. Hey, I'm picking a dog for the first fight on the card. Second fight to talk about, Igor Severino taking on Andre Lima. Igor Severino is 8-0, taking on another undefeated fighter, 7-0 in Lima. Lima's the favorite in this spot, though, man. Minus 170 on the books right here. Both these fighters made their debut off the UFC Contender Series, and both look good in there. I like the underdog in this spot, Igor Severino. He's been able to win promotions in weight classes and weight belts with the Jungle Fight promotion in Brazil. For the people that don't know, that's a real promotion out there in Brazil. Sometimes these Brazilian fighters fight in promotions out there, and they're not really accredited. And, it's like, okay, you could go undefeated, and, hey, nobody will question it. But he's been as advertised, man. He started off real young. I think he got the belt when he was like 19 or 20. Striking is good. He's an overall better fighter than Lima. I think he can mix in the wrestling and takedown. Lima's kind of like a counter puncher to where, if they're just going to be out there striking, I think Severino's going to have way more volume in here. I like the dog in this spot, man. I don't know what to say, man. Maybe it's the Pick Dawgz logo today, but that's the second dog on the card today, man. Give me Severino. I think he gets it done by decision in that one. All right, third fight to talk about, Monster Rendon, 6-0, taking on Daria Zelikova, 8-1. All right, Monster Rendon's coming off a good win last time out against Vidal in a fight to where, a lot of people thought Vidal was going to be able to win. Daria, the story with her, Russian fighter, she likes to strike, but she can be taken down. She's a minus 200 favorite in there. She opened up at a minus 180. I think Daria should be able to win as long as it stays on the feet. I think she's going to be able to have Monster Rendon going back on her back foot throughout the fight. And in the judges' eyes, if you're not leading the dance, hey, man, you're last to the dance in this one. But if Rendon's able to get her down to the ground, this girl might not get up. It just depends on the game plan for him. When it comes down to it with this one, I think the favorite is the warranted pick in this one. I'm not going to be betting her. I'm not going to be backing her in this spot. I don't know too much about both of these fighters to just say, yes, she's a minus 2-1 favorite and she should win every single time they fight. But in this one, the pick is Daria in here. And I think this one goes the distance as well. All right, man. Next fight on the card, we got a good one to talk about. We got Stephen Nguyen, 9-1, making his UFC debut against Jarnell Aaron's 13-5-1. Steve Nguyen made his UFC debut on the Dana White Contender Series. He was able to get that win in that fight. You get it? Able to get the win? Cool. All right, Jarnell Aaron's now, I want to say it's his third fight now in the UFC. You know, his last time out was against Sung Woo Choi. Wasn't able to get the decision win in that fight. He's a fighter that kind of, like, when he's striking out there, he's going to throw big overhands. He's going to try to connect with the hooks. Stephen Nguyen is a guy that's going to pepper you up with way more volume in there. Let's talk about the betting odds. He's a -185 in there. He's gotten down to a -170 in here. I think Stephen Nguyen's better in every single spot in there. I think he's going to be able to win by decision in this one and get it done on here. I do see a lot of people, making the case for Jarnell Aaron's, but I just think when it comes down to it, I think Stephen Nguyen has way more tools in his toolbox, and he can fight a game plan strict to a T. Okay, Jarnell Aaron sometimes can get a little bit wild in there at times like that. So the pick is Stephen Nguyen. I think he gets it done by decision in that one. Next fight in the bantamweight division, Miles John, 13 wins, 2 losses, taking on Cody Gibson, 20 wins, 9 losses. All right, Miles John opened up a -130 favorite, got all the way up to a -155. Now money's coming in on Gibson, and now Miles John is down to like a -140 favorite on there. Okay, let's talk about the fight, how it got put together. Cody Gibson had a different opponent, but Miles John took the fight on short notice. So now he's stepping up into the ring. Okay, last fight out for Miles John, he was able to get that win in his last time out. Cody Gibson, I think he was on the losing side of a decision against Brad Katona. It's his second stint now with the UFC. I've been listening to some interviews and hearing Cody Gibson was trying to fight like 2 months ago. Then he got hurt with the injury. He has a new baby coming in April, so he got a lot of stuff on his mind to where they were trying to make him fight in April, and he was like, no, can I get something sooner? So they booked it here. In this one, man, I've been betting on Miles John's his whole career in the UFC. I only lost with him 2 times in there, but I'm gonna play this one the way it needs to be played. Miles John, I think, is the better fighter in here. He has more power, but the reach and the size disparity between the two is crazy, man. We got a fighter with the 71-inch reach compared to a 66-inch reach. A fighter that's 5'10 compared to 5'7. The only thing identical is the weight, okay? Now, when it comes down to it, man, the strikes landed per minute, go for Cody Gibson in here. The cardio goes for Cody Gibson in here. The finishability, I got to go with Miles John in here. The power, I go with Miles John in here as well. Man, I'll be honest, man, it's a closer fight than what it looks like on the odds. If Miles Johns can get this fight finished early on, I'm loving it. But if this goes to that later third round with Miles Johns having cardio issues, sometimes he does slow down in fights. Cody Gibson can be live in that spot, but Cody Gibson was juggling being a algebra teacher, a geometry teacher at the same time. So is he all the way in? We don't know, man. But I'm going to go ahead and take fight to go the distance in this one as my best pick. And the pick, I got to go with Miles Johns again, man. Just because, like I said, he's been one of the more profitable fighters for me. He does have the path to victory. If he mixes in the wrestling in here, he can make this a lot easier to fight. But when he does that, sometimes he does tend to slow down in fights. But the pick is going to be Miles Johns. Let's go ahead and get it done with there. And I think it goes to the decision. If not, it's going to be a third round finish on either side. All right, talking about either side, next fight up. Ricardo Ramos, 16 wins, 5 losses, taking on Juliana Rosa, 28-12. All right, Ricardo Ramos is a -160 favorite on there. And when we're talking about a fight that could go on either side, this is the one that we're talking about on here, man. I can't trust neither of these fighters with my money in this spot. I have made money with Ricardo Ramos and lost money with them prior. Last time out against Charles Jourdain, he just got subbed in the first round. Looked like he didn't even care about it or anything, and he just tapped real quick and was out of there. Sometimes that's how he fights when he's in the cage, you know. Instead of just going through the motions and going through the fight and taking the beating, he's just going to tap or he's just going to look for a way out sometimes. Juliana Rosa, man, this guy's a finisher, man. You know, he usually wins a lot of his fights by finish, and then a lot of his fights, he usually gets finished. When it comes down to it, though, man, he's going to have longer arms. He's going to have opportunities to get Ricardo Ramos down and maybe win by submission, maybe win by an arm triangle choke, maybe win by guillotine, maybe win by rear naked choke. You get the point. He has multiple paths to victory to win in this one. He keeps his hands low, though. Julian Erosa does, you know? So, with that being said, Ricardo Ramos has a path to victory, too. If this stays on the feet, I can see Ricardo Ramos attacking the body and hitting him with some jumping knees and stuff. Spinning elbows is what Ricardo Ramos is known for. In this one, though, I just can't bet him at a minus 160. I just can't. If it was minus 125, minus 130, I could maybe make my case for it and say, okay, but then I'm still not as confident in it, man. I'm gonna say this. My best bet in this one is fight not to go the distance in here. If you guys are betting this one, Julian Erosa is a live underdog, but I just really can't put my money on either of these fighters in this spot. The pick is Ricardo Ramos. Let's keep it going on to the next card. Hey, what are you guys betting on this week, though? Let me know, man. Because, look, it's not just UFC. We got Bellator going on, too. Corey Anderson going for the light heavyweight title. Jeremy Kennedy taking on Pitbull. Aaron Jeffrey versus Fabian Edwards. You got some great Bellator fights to talk about, too, to bet on. So, hey, man, let me know exactly what you guys are going to be betting on this UFC card. And if you guys are looking other places. Next fight on the card taking place in the lightweight division. Trey Ogden, 16 wins and 6 losses. Open up the favorite as a minus 145 up to a minus 155. Taking on Kurt Holloway, 21 wins, 7 losses. Coming off the Ultimate Fighter show. Wait, did he win? Did he win this shit? I think he won. No, I don't know if he won it. That's how bad the Ultimate Fighter's been, folks. Like, people's competing on these shows in the last year or two. We don't even know if they win or not. Like, it's just bad, though. But look. That's where he got his claim to fame. Last fight out, fought Austin Hubbard. Man, he was able to finish him. He looked good. His striking looked crisp, looked powerful. Older guy. But I kind of look at it like, man, when you're on your last stint in, you're kind of going to put everything you got into those first 7 minutes. You're not going to stay around and see just what happens in the fight. Trey Ogden, last time out, fight Nicholas Mata. Man, he looked good. He was dominating. I was on the other side. I had to play on Mata, and Trey Ogden dominated him. Dominated him on the feet, striking, and on the ground. The fight got ruled a no contest at the end because of some type of like head bunt or something like that. But Trey Ogden looked good in that fight. And then he looked good against Hubir as well. Only had a bad fight against Jordan Levitt in this spot. Look, I'm not here to say anything too awesome about Trey Ogden and tell you guys he's the best, he's this, he's that. But when I look at this card, I did look at his price tag and look at it. It's like, all right, this is a decent price tag for a fighter who I think should be able to win 70% of the times. I like Trey Ogden to get done in this spot. Next fight on the card to talk about. Kicking off on the main card. All right, man. We got a banger. Banger alert. Fernando Padilla, 15 wins, 5 losses. Taking on Luis Pajillo, 8 wins, 1 loss. All right, man. Fernando Padilla opened up a minus 165. Now he's down to a minus 155 in here. Last time out, he fought Kyle Nelson in a questionable fight that a lot of people thought he might have won on the scorecards, but the judge gave it to Kyle Nelson. And it was on Mexico Independence Day, too, in September. Now, before that, he had a win over Julian Erosa where he was able to knock him out in that first round. Okay, Luis Pajillo made his debut on the UFC Contender Series against a grappler who wasn't able to keep him down to the ground, and he finished him in that fight. His boxing is crisp. He has 7 wins by KO. He's representing Peru. There's a lot of up-and-coming fighters coming from Peru. I'm going to be honest with you guys, man. I've been following Fernando Padilla since 2018 when he was fighting in LFA, man. He's one of the most aggressive submission specialists out there. 8 wins by submission. He needs to go back to the drawing board, I think, and mix in the takedowns and stuff like that and make it a lot easier instead of just striking. But he has a powerful jab that he likes to display and a tough chin. Talk to him in an interview before his fight. If you guys want to check out the interview, check it out on MMA Lock. Just look up on YouTube, MMA Locker Room Interviews Fernando Padilla. You'll find it out there. He said he's going to mix it up in this fight. He said he's going to go back to the drawing board, going back to the game plan in here. Not being biased or anything, I do like Fernando Padilla in this spot. But Pajillo is live, man. He's a live dog, man. I don't think this fight is going the distance in there. His prediction was he's going to finish him. I think Fernando Padilla should be able to win. My best bet is fight not going the distance. Well, shit. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to keep it professional. I'm not going to say the pick, but nah, I guess I am, man. I got Padilla in this spot. But just know, this dog is live, okay? The dog is live, okay? But I think Fernando Padilla has way more ways to win in here. And like I said, I think if he was able to get this down to the ground and win by submission, that'd be the path to cash. Next fight taking place, Billy Quarantillo taking on Yusuf Zalal. Billy Quarantillo, 18-5. 18 wins and 5 losses. Yusuf Zalal, 13 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw. All right, opening odds. Had Billy Q open up a -185. Money's coming in on Yusuf Zalal. Now he's down to like a -155, -160. Billy Q, always going to hold a special spot in my heart. I was able to see him cash live for me at UFC 282 versus Alex Hernandez. Lost the first round, came back in the second round and finished him. Man, shout out to you for that. Billy Q is a dog. Yusuf Zalal, second stint now with the UFC. First stint didn't go as good. Got cut a little bit prematurely. But look, hear me out on this. He was waiting around to see if he was going to be on the Ultimate Fighter or not. He took this fight on short notice. He's going back to his Muay Thai striking. Shout out to James Lynch for that little tad bit on that one. But I think Billy Quarantillo has a path to victory, and I think he wins. The only way I think Yusuf Zalal can get him is if he catches him with one of those highlight knockouts, maybe like a knee or something like that. But I think Billy Q's the side, and I like him to get it done. Next fight taking place, Peyton Talbot, 7-0, taking on Cameron Simon, 9-1. All right, man. Peyton Talbot opened up a -125 favorite, got all the way up to a -155. Cameron Simon, man, he's been as advertised in the UFC, coming off of his loss against Christian Rodriguez, first time facing defeat. I like both these fighters, man. I made money with Cameron Simon. I made money with Peyton Talbot. This is a fight to where I think it's going to be prospect versus prospect. Both these guys' future is going to be bright in here, man. 2 strikers versus strikers. I mean, Peyton Talbot outstrikes him. He's landing about 6.6 strikes per landing per minute. Cameron Simon throwing about 5.28. Southpaw versus switch stance fighter in here. Trust me, man. You guys want to watch this fight in here. I gave out my pick as Peyton Talbot. I think he has more ways to win. Looking back at the fight, though, man, it could go either way in here. He's a slow fighter, but as the fight goes, he picks up the pace. Cameron Simon doesn't hold damage well, and it shows on his face as well, man. My pick is, man. Man. Both these fighters got path to victories, but I got to go with Peyton Talbot in this one, man. Yeah, I got to go with Peyton Talbot in that one, man. But Cameron Simon's a live dog as well. All right, next fight taking place. Ms. Shabazian, 12-4, taking on AJ Dobson, 7-2. Ms. Shabazian opened up a -180 favorite, okay? In this one, I'm going to keep it nice, short, and sweet. I can't trust Ms. Shabazian with anything, man. Ever since he's been a favorite, he loses on fights. He's supposed to be the next prospect coming out of Ronda Rousey's gym. He hasn't been that. AJ Dobson was supposed to be fighting on the UFC 298 card over here in Anaheim, the Honda Center. That fight got scratched and canceled. I think AJ Dobson's an overall better fighter. I think he has power. I think he can miss in the wrestling. I think he has cardio. And I think he's getting better fight by fight. My pick is AJ Dobson to get it done. I'm going with the dog in that one, man. Give me the dog one in that one. Especially, man. Let this fight get to the 3-minute mark in the second round. Man, I wouldn't be surprised if AJ Dobson wins by ground and pound or something like that, late second round or third round. The pick is AJ Dobson to get it done. All right, man. We got 2 more fights to talk about, man. We got the co-main event and we got the main event. But before we do that, smash that like button. Hey, what's your guys' best bet? Who's your March Madness team? Are you guys in the bracket? Let me know, man. All right, and type in below your favorite fighter. All right, co-main event spot. Carl Williams, 9-1, taking on Justin Tafa, 7-3. So look, this fight was supposed to be Justin Tafa's little brother, Junior Tafa. But Justin Tafa got hurt when he was supposed to be fighting, and Junior Tafa stepped in to fight his opponent a couple of weeks ago. So now Justin Tafa is replacing his little brother and fighting his opponent and Carl Williams. You got me? That's how we got here. A co-main event of this magnitude with 2 fighters like this is crazy. Don't waste your money on it. But Carl Williams is a -210 favorite. Justin Tafa, the only way he's live is if he wins by first round knockout. I think Carl Williams should be able to win, okay? He's 2-0 in the UFC. He pushes the pace with wrestling takedowns, okay? Orthodox striker. Justin Tafa, his wins are over people that's not good in the division. And his losses are worse. They're against people who's not even in the UFC no more. But he is live to win by KO. But I think Carl Williams can push the pace and win by decision. Main event time. Rose Namajunas taking on Amanda Ribas. Man, Rose Namajunas opened up a -170. She's all the way up to a -210. Amanda Ribas is 3-2 in her last couple of fights. She can be live in this fight if it goes to the later rounds, but I like Rose Namajunas to get it done. At this price tag, though, I don't know, man. I liked it a lot at that -175, -180. But the pick is Rose Namajunas, Thug Rose. She should be able to get it done. Amanda Ribas, doesn't have the great defense. I think Rose Namajunas could win by a head kick KO or just finish her by even going to the body. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, make sure you guys hit the like, hit the subscribe. Watch out later for my fights finish or go the distance video.